Today, my wife, some friends, and I are exploring Monaco, starting our journey from the train station. We stayed in Menton, a beautiful seaside town just 15 minutes away by train. One of the biggest advantages of staying there is that it's much more relaxed than Monaco or Nice. The trains coming from Nice are often crowded, while Menton has a calmer atmosphere and fewer tourists. For us, it was the perfect place to stay while visiting Monaco. I'll also be uploading a separate vlog from Menton because the town itself definitely deserves its own video. The train ride is short, and before you know it, you arrive in one of the wealthiest places on earth. The station itself is impressive. It's modern, spotless, and built into the hillside in a way that almost feels futuristic. For this first part of the video, we'll leave through the back exit of the station and walk downhill through the neighborhood toward Monaco's most famous landmark, Casino Square. In part 2, I'll show you the station's main entrance, which is worth seeing as well. One of the first things we noticed were the red sidewalks. Many of the pavements in Monte Carlo are either paved in red stone or painted red, giving the area a distinctive look. Apart from that, the neighborhood initially feels surprisingly normal. If you ignored the cars, you could almost mistake it for another residential area somewhere along the French Riviera. But then you notice the cars. Luxury vehicles are everywhere. Ferraris, Bentleys, Rolls-Royces, Lamborghinis, Aston Martins. Cars that would stop traffic in most cities barely attract attention here. In Monaco, they're simply part of everyday life. Something else immediately stands out: the silence. For a destination known around the world, there are surprisingly few people walking around. The streets are clean, orderly, and remarkably quiet. To keep the video as immersive as possible, I removed most of our conversations and background chatter, so you can experience the atmosphere almost exactly as we did while walking through the city. While passing through the station, we noticed police officers stopping and questioning a few suspicious-looking individuals. Security here is taken extremely seriously. Monaco has an extensive surveillance system, and its reputation as one of the safest places in Europe is no accident. You quickly get the feeling that everything is organized, monitored, and under control. As we continue walking, the scenery gradually changes. The buildings become more elegant, the streets more refined, and luxury begins to appear around every corner. We've now reached the area around the famous Hermitage Hotel, often considered one of the most prestigious luxury hotels in Monaco. The architecture alone is impressive, and it marks the transition into one of the principality's most exclusive districts. This is also where you'll find Monaco's luxury shopping area, home to some of the world's most famous designer brands. Even if you're not planning to buy anything, it's fascinating to walk through. The entire district feels like an open-air showroom for luxury living, and it's easy to see why this area is so popular on Instagram and social media. And just a few steps away, we arrive at the place most visitors come to see, Casino Square. This is the heart of Monte Carlo. On the left is the famous terrace of the legendary Hotel de Paris Monte Carlo, one of the best places in Monaco to sit down, enjoy a coffee, and watch the endless parade of luxury cars and visitors. On the right stands the iconic hotel itself, while directly ahead lies the world-famous square that has become a symbol of wealth, glamour, and luxury for more than a century. This is the Monaco you've seen in movies, on postcards, and across social media. The road that passes in front of the casino is almost an attraction in itself. Owners of supercars slowly drive by, revving their engines while crowds of spectators gather along the sidewalks, filming and taking photos. If you're into cars, this is probably one of the best places in Europe to see the latest Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Bugattis, and Rolls-Royces in the wild. Personally, though, I find myself more captivated by the setting than the cars. The architecture, the gardens, the atmosphere, and the views are what really make this place special, so don't expect me to spend the entire video chasing supercars. As we move closer to the casino, it's worth mentioning that entry to the main lobby is free. Even if you have no intention of gambling, it's worth stepping inside just to admire the architecture and the incredible attention to detail. The building feels more like a palace than a casino. What's funny is that not everyone walking through these grand halls looks like a millionaire. You'll see people dressed elegantly, but you'll also spot tourists in beach sandals and vacation outfits wandering around. Monaco has a way of mixing extreme luxury with everyday tourism. Here's an interesting fact. Citizens of Monaco are not allowed to gamble in the country's casinos. While visitors from around the world can try their luck, locals are prohibited from playing. It's one of the ways the principality protects its residents from gambling addiction. Maybe that's one of the reasons they stay rich. After leaving the casino, we continue our walk along the right-hand side of the building. The atmosphere is completely different here compared to the quiet residential streets where we started. The traffic is much heavier, luxury cars move constantly through the square, and tourists from every corner of the world fill the sidewalks. To our right is the famous terrace of the legendary Hotel de Paris Monte Carlo, one of the most prestigious addresses in Monaco. Sitting there with a coffee gives you a front row seat to the endless parade of luxury cars, wealthy visitors, influencers, and curious tourists. On the opposite side, however, you'll find cafes and terraces that are considerably more accessible. They might not offer the same level of prestige, but they offer something almost as valuable, the exact same view, and that's when a thought crossed my mind. Monaco sometimes feels like a giant theater. Some people come here to show off their wealth, others come to admire those people, and then there are the truly wealthy individuals quietly watching everyone else. Monaco can feel like a place where people watch rich people, while rich people watch even richer people. Yet despite all the luxury and glamour, there's something surprisingly accessible about it. You don't need to own a yacht, drive a Ferrari, or stay in a five-star hotel to enjoy Monaco. You can simply walk through the streets, admire the scenery, sit on a terrace, and soak in the atmosphere. And honestly, that's exactly what I would recommend. Because when the surroundings look like this, the experience isn't really about spending money. It's about enjoying one of the most beautiful urban landscapes in Europe. From Avenue d'Ostend, we stop for a moment to admire the view. Down below, we can see the marina filled with luxury yachts, the hills covered in skyscrapers and apartment towers, and in the distance, the Prince's Palace overlooking Monaco from above. We'll be heading there in the second part of the video to explore the historic side of the principality. For now, though, we're taking a well-deserved break. After all, it's not every day you get to enjoy a drink with a view like this. We decide to stop at the terrace of the famous Hotel Hermitage Monte Carlo, sit down for a cold beer, and simply enjoy the moment. Sometimes that's the best way to experience Monaco. If in the first part of the video we walk from the train station through the residential neighborhoods all the way to the casino, in this second part we're taking Monaco's more official and tourist-friendly route. Starting from the main exit of the train station, we'll make our way toward the Prince's Palace and continue to what is probably Monaco's third most important attraction after the casino and the palace itself, the famous Oceanographic Museum of Monaco. As you can see, this route feels much more polished and designed for visitors. Within minutes of leaving the station, you reach Monaco's main boulevard, surrounded by luxury buildings, immaculate streets, and beautifully maintained public spaces. We'll cross a few secondary streets before gradually making our way toward the Palace District. At one point, I started wondering, is everything here really perfect? So I decided to look for flaws. After a thorough search, I finally found one. What might be the most dangerous pothole in Monaco? That's pretty much it. Based on what I've seen, we can safely say Monaco is about 99.9% perfect. I didn't film every step of the journey because getting from the harbor up to the prince's palace requires a bit of effort. You have to climb through a pleasant park overlooking the sea and the port before reaching the old town. Once at the top, you'll arrive in the square in front of the prince's palace of Monaco. Legend says that if the princely flag is flying above the palace, Albert II is at home. If the flag isn't there, he's away. It looked like he was out during my visit, leaving only the palace guards on duty. The palace itself has a fascinating history. It stands on the site of a fortress originally built in 1215 by the Republic of Genoa. Since 1297, when the Grimaldi family first took control of Monaco, it has remained the residence of the ruling family. Over the centuries, the fortress was transformed into the palace we see today, combining medieval defenses with elegant Renaissance and modern additions. Just across from the palace, I found a charming terrace restaurant where I stopped for a coffee. And honestly, with views like these, it's hard to find a better place to take a break. Not far from the palace, you'll find the Oceanographic Museum of Monaco, a place I definitely recommend visiting. Personally, what impressed me the most wasn't even the marine life inside, but the building itself. Perched dramatically on a cliff above the Mediterranean, it offers incredible views of the sea and the coastline. The museum looks as if it has been carved directly into the rock, and of course, you'll also meet some fascinating marine creatures, including this beautiful sea turtle. What you've seen in this video is only a small glimpse of Monaco. This tiny principality has much more to offer than casinos and luxury cars. There are hidden streets, gardens, viewpoints, beaches, museums, and countless places worth discovering. I didn't spend the entire trip behind the camera. I also wanted to enjoy the experience for myself. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more videos from the French Riviera, the Côte d'Azur, and many other destinations, don't forget to subscribe. I've spent my last 3 summer holidays exploring this region, and over the years I've managed to discover which places are genuinely worth visiting, where it's worth staying, and which attractions deserve a spot on your itinerary. And Monaco is just the beginning. I'll also be sharing videos from Italy and other countries I've visited, so if you enjoy travel walks, beautiful scenery, and honest travel impressions, make sure to follow along. See you in the next adventure.